I love coming on the show and discussing opportunities for the growth of Nigeria. The show is brought to you by CSR in Action and is funded by ACT Foundation, ACT Foundation. And ACT is a grant-making organization established in 2016 to support health, environment, entrepreneurship, and leadership. And of course, this show is all about leadership. It's about citizen leadership. It's about you taking charge of your destiny, taking charge of the Nigeria of your dreams. Us not just talking about it in our rooms, talking about it on social media, but actually taking actions to better the lot for ourselves and for our people and for our generations to come. This week, it's been a lot of talk around Showere's arrest by the DSS. I mean, initially they refused to release him, and there was an outcry, everybody talking about it on social media, both his supporters and non-supporters, because at the end of the day, it's a human rights issue. You cannot just detain somebody. Initially, it was said that he couldn't meet bail conditions. Eventually, he met bail conditions. Initially, they said no surety. Then the surety came along, and still he was kept. They finally released him, and then you see all of that drama today with videos being shown of people covering him, and there were talks about armed men from the DSS coming to rearrest him and all of that. It's not a very good look for our dear country, Nigeria. These kinds of things make us look bad. Some people say, it's orchestrated by whichever party. For whatever reason this is being done, it has to stop. The president needs to take charge of the situation. He oversees all of the activities of any security arm of the government, and it does look bad on the country. We've been discussing this a lot, along with the social media bill that we discussed last week. The social media bill, aka the Protection from Internet Falsehood and Manipulation bill that I had a discussion with Wale last week. And we were talking about how it's really just a guise for gagging people not to talk about the things that we need to talk about. We know that social media can be dangerous, but we also know that we also have to have a voice. We cannot be in a country where we can't speak our minds. We have freedom of speech. It's a basic human right, and we must utilize that right, albeit with decorum and with responsibility and with wisdom. Speaking of the social media bill, again, on our WhatsApp group, we've been having some interesting discussions, and, as we're discussing and talking about searching failings that we had determined in our national polity, it came to mind that perhaps what we're saying, if the social media bill is passed into law, then it would be that we would actually be arrested because we aired our views on something that's critical to the government, because the bill says that it prohibits statements on social media deemed likely to be prejudicial to national security and those which may diminish public confidence. So if you're saying, I don't like what this arm of government did, or what Mr. President did, or what the senator did, because it's so ambiguous, you could say, it's diminishing public confidence, and as a result, hey, here's your 300,000 naira fine, or here's your jail sentence, and all of that. So we really, 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 really must look at things very carefully, our leaders, and determine that the things that we're doing for our own selfish interests will not destroy the country that we are a part of and we should be seeking to build. As it's Christmas season, let's go on to happier discussions. Today we're going to be talking about volunteering for community improvement. Ever since I was a young person, I had no choice but to volunteer. I remember then my mom was at some point chairman of Inner Wheel District 9110, and almost every Saturday we had to go for some humanitarian event. They would show us, the only thing we got out of it was occasionally they'll show us ashwebi to wear And fish skirts were all the vogue then, and we would wear our little fish skirts and fitted blouses with little puff sleeves, and we would go and sell laurels, and we never expected to get anything out of it. We were expected to do it for children in need, for to help those who were poor, and all of that. It was our responsibility. And if you look at it on the flip side, volunteering also gives you real life work experience. I constantly meet young people who say, please, I got to this job interview and they said I needed to have 2 years experience. Where would I have gotten 2 years experience from? Well, they've gotten that 2 years experience from volunteering your time, whether you were at school or if you had just finished school. It is not nice to constantly think of pecuniary benefits when you need to do something. Sometimes you do things because they need to be done, because you are healthy, you are alive, God has given you good health, you can move from point A to B, and you just feel like as a human being, I need to contribute my quota. So volunteering is basically a way in which a group of people partake in social, charitable and environmental activities. You don't expect anything out of it. And, to a large extent, something like your youth services, volunteering to your country, because you don't really get a lot out of it, but it is an opportunity to make an impact. The opportunity to make an impact, especially when we talk about people who go to schools to help children who typically cannot pay fees for good education, and then you sit down there and you spend your time. It's really impactful when you get the benefits. And I think that at some point during this Christmas season, we would get in one of the kids. CSR Action is sponsoring Abdullahi. He won at our Christmas event, My First True Christmas, which we hold annually. Very smart kid, primary 3. He was very bright, answered all the questions. And I remember that the entire contents of his mother's shop, which she had in a bucket, like her sales items, everything all together cost 1,500. I remember her saying, if you want me to leave this spot and take you home to meet Abdullahi's father, you have to buy all of my market. And all of the market was literally 1,500. So it's amazing that, people go through a lot. We can't say all the time that we're waiting for government. To a large extent, we're government. In the industrialized societies of the world today, built themselves up, and then they made the government take charge. So we have a special guest that we'll be discussing this with today. She is one of the veterans of the NGO sector in Nigeria. She's Mrs. Adebiyi Olubukola. She currently runs 19 projects across 3 focus areas in health, education, and entrepreneurship, reaching vulnerable groups, especially orphans and vulnerable children, widows, people living with HIV, grassroots women, indigenous youth, and families in hard-to-reach areas. The organization works with over 400 active volunteers and has assisted over 200,000 less privileged people in Nigeria and as far as Liberia, Sudan, Darfur, and Chad. Mrs. Olubukola's zeal and commitment has earned her and JAKIN 21 Humanitarian Service Awards, a whopping 21 Humanitarian Service Awards. You need to clap for her. And in 2008, she won a 1-year scholarship under the Goldman Sachs Bank of USA 10,000 Women Initiative to empower 10,000 women entrepreneurs in emerging and developing countries across the world. She's currently the executive member of UNICEF, Lagos State Child Protection Network, and a member of Lagos State Ministry of Health Global Fund Committee on Resilient System Strengthening on Health. She's a motivational speaker and a facilitator. All of this, just one person. Yes, just one person. Just one person. It's really inspiring when we get to have such people on the show. Because for me, it encourages me. Every time I have these conversations, despite what I'm doing already, I feel honored. I feel motivated to want to do more. Welcome to the show, Mrs. Adebiyi Olubukola. Hello, are you there?
Hello, thank you very much.
Right. So,
Well
listeners, she had to call in because obviously Lagos traffic is Lagos traffic. We can't help it. How are you doing today?
Very, very fine. And how are you doing too at the studio?
Well, we're doing just
sorry
fine.
I couldn't make it.
Yeah. You had the luxury of not showing up. Now we will have to be here, regardless.
That's true. Well done.
So really, your citation, really, like I said, was very exciting. Tell us, was it easy? How did you start this up?
Oh, well, can't say it's easy because I started without any training on what you call an NGO. Mm-hmm. I just had a passion for putting smiles on faces. And I didn't have any mentor. I didn't have anybody telling me what to do other than whatever my mind tells me I would love someone to do for me. So I set out doing unto others what I would like them to do too.
Absolutely. That's just amazing. So why do you think that your volunteers do what they do, supporting the work that you do?
I think it has a lot to do. We share the same foundation, that's what I would just say, or the same mindset. Because really, we have different types of volunteers. We have those that leave everything they have to work full-time with us as volunteers.
So how do they get remunerated?
Well, for some of them, you have people that could have been already established, and or they do some kind of work that is convenient for them to live that, maybe they're graphic designers, stuff that don't require their person.
Right.
Yeah, so they don't
have to go into an office or anything like that. So they can do this during the day and work at night.
Exactly. So we have people like that, and we also have those that maybe they have one time benefited from what we're doing, and they've grown to say, I would love to do this for others. So that's the same way you have missionaries. Volunteers share the same platform as missionaries.
Yes, absolutely.
So they're just out there. They're not waiting to be remunerated. But sometimes, you are humanitarian in your heart. So sometimes you can motivate them. Sometimes you can give them stipends. Sometimes you can share maybe food stuff or something like that for them. And they're comfortable. But the thing is that they're not mounting pressure on you at the end of the month.
To say you have to.
Yes, they are not there for what they are going to get.
Right, and it's not the money.
Even for my staff in JAKIN, majority of them are actually like that. So when people see how big we are, sometimes they feel, maybe we are collecting some big money.
They say it's funders. They are sorting them out, all these NGOs.
Yes, they let go of salaries. So that we tell ourselves we are missionaries. So we go months, sometimes without salaries.
Wow.
Until when we have somebody that just looks at us and say, oh, you guys are doing so much.
Yes.
What are your needs? And we can say, we're 3 months without salaries now. They will say, really? How much is the salary? I'm going to help out.
That is amazing. That is so amazing. So what inspired you to do this?
Like I said, I just love putting smiles on faces. That's just it. Even from when I was graduating from school, in Obafemi Awolowo University, all through my time in school, I just find myself that I'm raising funds for the fellowship, or I see somebody sad and I'm like, what's wrong with you? Person can just say, oh, no food, come and take out of mine. And I noticed again that many people that you see that are either depressed or unhappy, it's not everything that has to do with money. Sometimes it's actually a listening here.
Absolutely.
So when you just create time to listen to them, I find out that they're happy. And I see mine more as a calling, because everywhere I go, somebody freely is sharing with me what their issue is. Then I could be in a bus, a stranger will just open up. I'm like, there are up to like 10, 12 people here. How come it's me that you're talking to? But they just say they feel free, just telling me their issues, and they're not asking me for money. So by the time I'm through with them, I see their spirit is lifted. I see that they're happy, they're encouraged, and they just don't want to give up. I've had incidences, at least over the years, almost 17 years running JAKIN. We've had like 3 or 4 cases of those that we never knew before they were referred to JAKIN. In their mind, they were planning to commit suicide maybe that night or the next day.
Amazing.
And when they come over to our office, just that we're giving them a listening ear, we may not even be able to sort the problem, but just that psychosocial support, telling them, look, there is hope for tomorrow. Let's work on this together. Let's pray together that we are going to get help for you on time and we are going to be able to reach out to you. That hope gives them a reason not to. That's when they will now open up and say, look, you won't believe that this is what I was planning to do. At least we had 2 women that we never knew that they are babies that we supported them with. They were planning to go and abandon those babies.
Wow. And then you stepped in.
JAKIN, yeah. So that's when they will now open up and say, look, thank God I met you. Actually, this was my plan.
I know that is so heartwarming when you get to witness those kinds of things. And earlier you mentioned that that these people that you work with perhaps share the same foundations or values as you. What foundations or values do you refer to?
Well, I'll still say the same thing I mentioned earlier. Just that compassionate spirit, that selfless service spirit, that readiness to put your own issues aside and then put a smile on another person's face.
Do you think there's a common thread in their upbringing, or are they diverse in the way that they were brought up in life's experiences?
Absolutely diverse.
Right.
And along the line too, I've met quite a number of them to working with me that they were actually inspired to start working with me when they met me. And I always tell them, nobody works for me. We are all working together. You are all working with me and we are all working for God.
Amazing.
Because there is no humanitarian service without the Creator himself.
Absolutely.
So that's what I tell them. So we work with the same understanding. It's not easy at all, that I can see, because they have family, they have their own issues. You know what it feels like at the end of the year? You do and you bring together like 500 orphans and vulnerable children, 200 widows and people living with HIV, and you do an elaborate end of the year party for them, share food stuff for them for the year and all that, and you know that you don't even know if you have a salary for that.
So how many staff do you have full time?
Currently we have 13.
You have 13 full-time staff, and then you have 400 volunteers. So if you didn't have these volunteers, you would not have been able to make this impact that you've made.
Of course.
That is just amazing.
It's going to be impossible. It's going to be impossible because our staff is down to 13 now because of the still economic trend and so many things we can't meet up. We were initially 30.
Wow.
For you to know the extent, because we're running almost 19 projects at the moment.
Wow.
Currently, we're doing a project called Community-Centered Campaign Against Rape and Sexual Abuse in Slums. It's funded by Canadian Embassy. We'll be reaching over 3,000
I know some people's ears have perked up as they heard Canadian Embassy.
They shouldn't just bother. We'll be reaching about 3,030 adolescent slum-dwelling girls in 3 different slums across Lagos State. We were totally just blessed. That's what I'll use. That right as we're about starting the project, we had about 8 social workers from Unilag Social Department come for 3 months IT.
Amazing.
It's part of it. They came right on time with another PhD holder who is a lecturer with them coming for IT with us.
Wow.
They were just perfect. They have relieved us so much.
Oh, wow.
I can tell you that we will have been overburdened by now. So their coming in is a huge relief. Sometimes we do projects like our annual Just a Child for School project. We work with 50 volunteers just for a single day event, because we're addressing 500 children for school in a single day. And we start work on that project from May to be able to mark International Literacy Day on September 8th. And we work with a minimum of 50 volunteers.
That is amazing.
We'll be overwhelmed, and because we have a crowd of almost 1,000.
Wow!
So everything is the secret of our success is in volunteers.
Is in the volunteers that you get. So, final question, because we need to take questions from listeners. What can one do this Yuletide season? Christmas is here. People have to find ways of being happy. What do you think people can do? How can they volunteer their time?
Oh, it all depends on what they do themselves for a living. Because honestly, if you are doing an 8 to 5 and you work, Monday to Friday and sometimes Saturdays, it's difficult for you to volunteer your time, except you're on leave. But you can volunteer your resources. And when we're saying resources, it's not just money alone. You can help to spread stuff on social media.
Yes.
Things that you can do at your convenience.
Yes.
Like what I just said now about the end of the year party. You can help to rebroadcast. You can help to get people to volunteer. You can also help to get people to donate items. There are so many things that you can do. You live in an estate, you can mobilize your estate people to, this is a season where a lot of people do a lot of house cleaning and all that. You can tell them, please, we need clothes, we need toys, we need this, you can make yourself a collection point.
Absolutely.
Even if you cannot make the event, but you're already part of the event, you're already working outside the event, and it's so necessary because without you, we would have an empty gift stand on that day.
Thank you.
And if you're somebody that also, like, we have somebody that is into events or you do decorations and all that, you can say, okay, from my own organization, we may not have money, but we can do free decoration for you. We can give you cake. We can give stuff for the party packs. We can do so many things.
Absolutely.
And then if you can now volunteer in person, fantastic.
Absolutely.
Because on that day alone, we need up to like 30 hands.
Thank
just
you.
That day, because
we're
really like for 800 children. So you on your own also can do so much in your communities.
I agree. Churches, and I hope you all are listening. That was the CEO of JAKIN N.G.O talking about how we can give back to our society. Thank you so much, B, for coming on the show. It's been amazing listening to you and being inspired to do a little more.
You're welcome.
God bless you. Have yourself a good weekend. Bye. So we've had the President CEO JAKIN N.G.O on the phone talking about how we can volunteer this season. The number to call is 0700 923 93 93. Again, it's 0700 923 93 93 to call. As she was talking, I remember that she's actually also a grantee of ACT Foundation. ACT Foundation is spreading its wings far and wide, supporting credible non-profits working in the areas of health, environment, entrepreneurship, and leadership. And I also remembered how last week, with everything that I was going through, I remember thinking, I cannot go to be a part of the prison ministry of my church. And I stopped by church for what was to be a 2-hour break. I said, the head of the prison ministry said to me, Bekeme, I'm not going to be available. And could you please step in for me to help organize packs for our prison ministry, the Elevation Church? And I said, why not? 2 hours. We have a caller. Hello? So we've lost that call. So 2 hours turned to 5 hours, 6 hours. And I said, at some point, I said to my driver, if my colleagues catch me here, it was a busy week. But thinking about the fact that there are people who are locked up, whether for doing something wrong or just for walking by. Hello? Walking by on the streets of Lagos, they just catch you and throw you in jail. Hello?
Good evening.
Hi, good evening. Thanks for calling the Good Citizen Radio Show. What's your name, please?
My name is Mr. Amadi. I'm calling from Ikoyi, Lagos State.
Mr. Amadi from Ikoyi?
Yes, in Lagos.
Oh, hello, Mr. Amadi. How's everything today?
Please, I'm fine. And you?
I'm better, thank you.
I want to get your WhatsApp number.
Okay, you want to get the WhatsApp number of the group? You want to join the group? Or you want to send the message to what?
I want to send the message.
Okay, so the number is 0906 263 4111. 0906 263 4111.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Amadi, for calling the show. Hello? Okay, so I was talking about the prison ministries, and, there is plenty of volunteering opportunity for anybody who would want to look at that particular area. When I went to the prisons the first time, I'm sure I didn't sleep well that night. Over 70% of the people that I met said that they had not been in court, that they were wrongfully imprisoned. Hello?
Hello, good evening.
Hi, good evening, Didi. The patient one. How's everything?
Very
Thanks for calling the Good Citizen Radio Show once again.
Yes, so happy new month.
Same to you. I'm very excited. It's the end of the year. Great things have happened. Great things are about to come.
Yes, so we thank the Lord, and it is well with your soul and body in Jesus' name.
Amen. Thank you.
Yes. Well, I went to the prison for administration once, so that was when I was a core member. And before we went there, they told us that we had to dress or wear our trousers and everything, because that some people might behave funny.
When you're incarcerated for months and years, of course.
Yes, that some people might behave funny. And we went there with the little that we could afford as core members.
Mm-hmm.
But surprisingly, when we got in there, they were all very, very calm, you know. They were calm and were just like looking at the young men.
Yes.
Young women, some even with children.
Yes.
I was like, my God, a child in the prison.
Some of them were born there. Some of those children were born there, sadly.
Yes, I was like, did this child also commit an offense to be in prison? You know,
sadly, our social system is not well developed enough, because a child should not be there.
So those children should not be in the prison with the parents at all, because the child is innocent.
Absolutely.
So why would the child be in prison? They should be somewhere else where they will be properly taken care of. Then when the parent is out, when the parents are out, then they give them the children back. That's the best thing.
Absolutely.
But for them to leave the children there is not good at all. Because when I got there, I felt like crying when I saw the children.
I know. But apart from that, how do you feel when you volunteered your time to something? Isn't there some sort of satisfaction you get out of it, knowing that you've given of yourself?
I was very happy because, they don't get visitors like that all the time.
Yeah.
So when they see people coming to associate with them, they're always very, very happy. Mm-hmm. And they don't want the people to go anymore. They want them to stay with them. So visiting the prison is something that is very, very commendable. It's very good.
Absolutely.
It's very good. I would have loved to be part of the, but she's mentioned that if you're doing 9 to 5, my own is 9 to 5. So I will not be able to be a volunteer.
But you can do Saturdays and Sundays now. Do you do 9 to 5 on Saturdays and Sundays too, Ndidi?
No, Sunday is for God's church.
Okay, Saturday. Ngwano, Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday, yes.
So there's opportunity, and you can do it online or wherever. Anyway, thank you for the example that you did give. I hope that you are able to find more time to volunteer. I mean, there are all sorts of things. At CSR in Action, for instance, we have a reading club that we organize at schools, and you can come support us. You can come teach the children ethics. We're working towards value reorientation, not just through our radio show, but through our WhatsApp platform, through social media, and through these meetings with young people in primary and secondary schools. I love what Freedom Foundation is doing with people on the streets. The God Bless Nigeria movement. It's just amazing. I watched Pastor Tony Rapu on social media today, and I watched testimonies of people whose lives have been transformed just because some people just took time out to be interested in their well-being, not because they're looking to benefit of something, but just to touch another human being's life. It can make that difference. It can absolutely make that difference. So I just wanted to encourage us all during this season and every season of our lives. We must always remember that we should die empty, having given all of ourselves. It would be sad to just go away from this earth not being the best version of yourself. Thank you all once again for listening to the Good Citizen Radio Show. You can send us a WhatsApp message on 0906-263-4111. Again, it's 0906-263-4111. And continue the conversation as usual on social media at Good Citizen NG, at Good Citizen NG. And if you wanted to watch this show next Friday at 8 p.m., you could go to ifm923.com/watch-live. Keep the feedback coming. My name is Bekeme. We're back next week, Friday at 8 p.m. on Inspiration FM. Thank you to our sponsor, ACT Foundation, and to the wonderful team at CSR in Action. Have yourselves a blessed weekend, and I hope you have a happy new week. Bye-bye.